Hi everyone, welcome back. This week I'm making a green tea cold process soap. I'm going to infuse the actual green tea as part of the lye water solution, and then I'm also going to take apart some of these tea bags and put some green tea in the actual soap itself so it has a little bit of an exfoliating property. So you can use any kind of green tea, just make sure that the only ingredients in there is actual green tea. To get started, I went ahead and I measured out the water. I got it boiling first so we can actually make the tea, and then I just went ahead and put it on my scale and weighed out the water amount for the recipe. Now you may be wondering why I'm incorporating green tea into the soap. If you don't know a lot about it, it does have a lot of revitalizing properties for your skin, and it is good at helping repair any damaged skin. It's also good for acne prone skin to kind of help clear any impurities on your actual skin itself. You can kind of look up some of the properties yourself later and do a little bit of your own research, but again, I like to do a lot of soap recipes where I'm changing the lye water solution. So now I'm just going to let the bag soak in the tea for about I think I did about 10 minutes. You don't have to let it soak quite that long. That's just what I felt was appropriate. And I used 4 tea bags because I wanted it to be relatively strong. While the tea was brewing, I went ahead and I took a couple more tea bags and I cut them open. I wanted to use the actual tea itself as part of the soap and give it an exfoliating property, so I'm just kind of dumping it out and setting it aside. I'm going to save this for later for when the soap comes to full trace. We're going to add that in during that step. Again, this is totally, optional. I just like to try everything that we can to kind of see how it reacts in soap and what's going on. So that's what this channel is about. If you guys are enjoying this so far, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up because it does help my channel. And look how awesome that tea looks. I think that's going to give a nice scrubbing in the soap itself when it's done. So once the tea was all set up, I went ahead and I got my ice cube tray. I did spritz it down with rubbing alcohol just so the cubes pop out a little bit cleaner and easier. This is just the best cube thingy that I had around close by. You can use any mold you have to set up ice cubes, but you could see the tea was turning really dark. It's still really hot. The reason I put the water in the freezer is just because when I add the lye, I feel like it incorporates a little bit quicker. I don't have to worry about it getting like overly heated or hot, and it just kind of is a little bit easier to soap with. It's a personal preference. You do not have to put your tea in the freezer, but if you're not going to do that, you need to make sure the water solution has calmed down. I never soap any of my soap ingredients above 120 degrees. So if you want to let this sit out, put it in the fridge, wait till later, anything you want, just get it back to room temperature is probably the best temperature to have it at if you don't want to do the ice cubes. I'm just giving you guys another option. Okay guys, so some of the other ingredients that I wanted to incorporate was some French green clay. I did not use this mica or the jojoba oil in the soap. I was going to, I just kind of forgot about it. But when I'm prepping the French green clay, if you've never used clays before, it's good to put it in a dish and set it aside and then get a little bit of water and add it to it and kind of let it set up. I'm also using the green tea fragrance oil from Crafter's Choice or Wholesale Supplies Plus. And also a little bit of sodium lactate. If you're interested in the fragrance oil, I honestly bought this a long time ago. I remembered it smelled really good out of bottle. However, I've pretty much had COVID-related symptoms and have not been able to smell for several months, so I can't remember exactly what it says or what it smells like, but I'll read what it says off the website. It says it's got green tea, pink grapefruit, lemon tea, and oak musk as a smell. It's also compared to Elizabeth Arden's green tea. So if you like that sort of fragrance oil, that's what it smells like. Whenever my smell comes back, I'm really excited to actually smell it. Like I said, it smells good out of bottle when I ordered it a couple months ago. I'm just going to let this French green clay sit aside, and we're going to incorporate that into our soap later. Alright, so next step is to measure out the oil, so you can go ahead and do that. I'll put the measurements there for you guys. And then once all the oils are measured out, you can go ahead and melt those down. All right, now I'm taking the little iced tea cubes out of the mold, and I'm putting them all into one container, and then I'm going to do a few in another container, and then I'm just going to slowly incorporate the lye, maybe a spoon or two at a time, and kind of mix it with the cubes to melt it down. I didn't start off with gloves, but I think I put them on later on because obviously you don't want lye burns. You want to be very careful when you're using lye, so just a reminder about that as well. And I also forgot to mention earlier on the other part where we're using sodium lactate. That is a total optional step, but I always add my sodium lactate either once I have the lye water solution completely mixed and everything is fully incorporated. I'll add like a half tablespoon or whatever might need, for usage rate of the recipe into the lye water, or I put it at the end when the soap has come to trace and I'm adding my fragrance oil. You can add it whenever you want, but those are the two spots that I like to do it and what I recommend. Okay, so I'm getting really close to having all the cubes fully incorporated into the lye, but I do want to show you guys the bottom of the container in case you've never used any kind of lye water solution replacement. You can see really well on this soap how all of the lye is sitting at the bottom of the container. So I like to look at mine sometimes from the underside of the container and make sure that all that lye is stirred in into your soap. It is especially important when you're doing lye water replacements because it is a little bit harder to see on most soaps that you're using. So just another thing to keep in mind and kind of look for. You definitely want to make sure all those lye crystals are completely dissolved before you add it into your oils because you will get little lye pockets into your soap. So once my lye water solution is pretty close to room temperature and my oils are at room temperature, I go ahead and add them together in my big mixing pot, and then I go ahead and get them for this recipe to a slow trace. This is a good slow trace recipe if you like to make designs in your soap. I've been practicing my slow trace recipes because I want to get better at making kind of intricate designs on my soap. That's just a personal thing. And this one I kind of try to do a little design even though it is basically a monochromatic color scheme. Also, if you're doing a slow trace recipe, that is a good idea to use sodium lactate. Again, it's totally optional. So this part kind of moves a little bit quickly, but I did a couple different layers. I left some of the soap with no colorant in it just so we could see how it colors with tea. I did go a little bit darker. And then I did add the French green clay, and then I did some of the soap with the tea that we set aside, which is this right here, the exfoliating layer. I liked the way that was looking, so I added it to quite a bit of the soap, and I just kind of dumped it in the pot to do a little swirl inside the loaf. Again, most of it was brown because of the tea, but I'm going to take a picture of it and show you guys at the end the final color, because the fragrance oil itself did not discolor the soap. I think it was more of the tea in this thing, because on the website for Wholesale Supplies Plus it says that fragrance oil does not discolor. It should be a creamy color. I'm also thinking the tea, since it was not used tea, it left little brown spots, so it may stain when I actually use it. So that is something to keep in mind if you're going to use fresh tea in your soap. Now for this soap, since it was a slower trace recipe, I let it sit in the mold for about 2 days before I actually popped it out of the mold. This is what it looked like right as I popped it out of the mold. Everything looked really nice. I love the way it looked on the side, but it was also still way too soft to cut, even though I did put that sodium lactate in. So I did let it sit for another 2 days before I actually started to cut it. And then this is what it looked like a couple days later. So far there's not any discoloration or anything like that to the soap, but you'll see when I cut the soap and the pictures at the end that there is a discoloration, and I am honestly not 100% sure if it is the tea or not. If you've made a tea soap before and it's discolored, leave a comment below and let me know. But right here the soap looks really creamy, but it seemed as though as it cured, the soap got a little bit darker. Again, their website says that the fragrance oil does not discolor it. None of these oils should really be discoloring the soap as well, so I'm not really sure why the color has changed on the soap, other than either the tea or the fragrance oil. One of the two had to be causing that. So if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because I will make more videos just like this, and give me a thumbs up. It really does help support my channel. And as always, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching. Thank you.